Good evening, ladies and gents. Tonight we have another scene for the Living World of Darkness, Gyro Venue Rage across New York. We start the scene with William White stepping into the umbral reflection of the botanical gardens, I believe in Queens. He has managed to avoid the pattern spiders of the city by using the secret knowledge that Otter has whispered in his ear and the guidance of his pack totem. And has, basically travelled on these secret paths through the Umbra and now steps out there. He has certain things with him, and he is here on a mission he devised a while ago and hasn't been able to carry out, but now he is here looking for a potential ally, although he is slightly dubious as to how exactly this is going to work. So yeah, he will basically approach the Wyld tree, Yggdrasil, that I believe is in the central area of the Botanical Gardens.
Mm-hmm. From the looks of things, even though the Weaver has been fairly aggressive throughout the entire city, even the Bronx Botanical Garden has quite a few spiders and webs, and the markings of her starting to slowly encroach in on it. Even suspiciously so, there may be the occasional thread of spider web connecting the trees of the botanical garden. However, the massive tree that is phenomenally hard to miss appears web-free at the moment.
Will basically growls when he sees that the webs are even here. In this place he's been told is akin to a cairn. And he will proceed through. He will growl at any pattern spiders he sees on the way in, very aggressively, hopefully sending them scattering. And he will approach the tree, looking for the personification of it.
The tree at the moment appears to be abandoned, although there is a small amount of rustling up in the branches.
Will looks around. This is unfortunate because my PC is busted, so all my notes I made for this scene are gone. The squirrel companion? The squirrel guard or something? Rata something? I had it written down because Will's learnt its name. So basically, Yggdrasil has like a squirrel, doesn't it, that looks after the tree in the myth?
Oh, yeah.
Robbie did a lot of Norse research for this and I've lost it all.
Ratatosk.
Ratatosk. So Will call out in spirit speech. Or Protector Rathakos. I would speak with you if you would hear me.
As he calls out, there's a small bit of hesitation, sort of a marked slowness before the dryad-like figure that he recognizes as Yggdrasil crawls down from the branches of the tree. She is not quite as green as she usually is. In fact, some parts of her take on sort of a brownish, yellowish hue, and she doesn't look particularly energetic. There are some spider webs in her hair.
Damn. Will frowns at this and doesn't approach. He's met her once. No, he's met her twice before, I believe. But they were very brief meetings. But yeah, he will kind of stand there and wait for her to come to him. She can tell, though, that he obviously is worried by her appearance, actually. He didn't expect this.
She'll tear some of the webs out of her hair and drop them on the ground. And she'll approach, putting on a somewhat thin sort of smile. Hello again, tree child.
Greetings, great tree spirit. How does this day find you? He's speaking spirit speech, although I don't believe he has to. I think they've conversed in Gari or English before.
She pauses a bit when he asks how she is, and she sort of folds one of the yellowing leaves between her fingers. I suppose I'm still alive. And how are you?
Will feels guilty as his own foliage is not wilting, but he says, "I'm troubled."
What troubles you?
The tree spirits around the city are crying out for help. The weaver, the spiders, they're calcifying and killing and constraining, turning into statues, that which should be alive and blooming.
She nods. There is much stillness, much death these nights.
I've come to you because I heard from another spirit warrior that you had fought the spiders before. I came seeking advice or help.
She nods. Yes, when I was first brought here by a dear friend, the spiders and their allies, the people of Stasis, they attacked. They wished to uproot and remove my tree. They cited for research purposes.
Will gets visibly kind of growls at this idea, not aggressively, but disapprovingly. They're a plague on the city. I've been trying to fight them. I've been trying to make my own people aware of the threat they pose, but the worm still exists. And it's hard for them to see that the weaver may be just as big a threat. I must confess, I don't know how the pact applies for you, if you're spirit of Gaia or something else or something more. But I had prepared Chimney, and I would ask that in return you would offer advice or assistance, if able.
She nods. Gaia is not my mother, but she is a close friend. I can honor your pact.
Will's eyes widen slightly. That's intimidating. And yeah, he just says, "Are the spiders bothering you as well? I see them here in this place where they should not be."
I'm afraid so. There is part of me that worries this place should no longer belong to me. They are quite adamant in staking their claim. And there are yet more dangers beyond the people of Stasis and the spiders.
Will nods. In truth, I don't think the spiders and the weaver are as obvious threat as the worm, but we Gari, if we can't travel through the penumbra, if we are being restricted, and we need authorization from them, we can't carry out our Gaian-given duty. This is why I think it's so important that, that we deal with this. Some of my fellow Gari think I'm being a warmonger and think that I'm looking for a fight when none exists.
She shakes her head. There are greater dangers to closing off the spiritual from the non-spiritual.
Well, Miles, if you would like, I could try and clear some of the spiders from this garden. My only worry is they just come back. And maybe deem this place more of a threat and make it a high priority.
Indeed, they return more aggressive still when fought, is why I ceased fighting them. Is the place that you call home still safe from the spiders and their webs?
It's safe, but we've had attacks. We've fought off the giant machines, things called some giant geometric thing that could take us out of our forms and disconnect us from our Gaia-given gifts. But we fought them off. But yeah, how long until they're destroying the parks and the few remaining wild places around the city? Once they've done that, us here will be the only places left.
My home may not be long for this world either. If perhaps your people can bring the heart of this place and one of my saplings to protect them where you live, I may be able to serve your purposes.
Will's eyes go even wider. This mirrors a chimney she's paid before. I could do this for you. We could protect a sapling of the world tree on a sept. The sept would be honored, I'm sure. I have prepared other chiminage if you would have it as well, though.
She nods. I would never reject a gift.
So this is where it gets awkward because I have, my PC is dead. Will has memorized a poem of Idrisil by a pre-Raphaelite poet. I think it was German. And I had it saved on my PC and for the life of me can't remember it. So, are you happy? I was gonna recite it, but are you happy if I just kind of say Will does?
Sure, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, sorry, it's not quite as entertaining. So yeah, Will basically explain that she's a myth and myths need to be honored, and he will recite this poem called Idrisil, which is just about Idrisil. And then he will tell her that he will fast for 5 days as Odin fast when he hung on the great tree Yggdrasil to honor the memory and the myth and the god. And then he says he will. He read that the well of, I think it's Ure or something. Basically, there's a well of Ure which is underneath. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, Mimir as well. The one of infinite knowledge?
I think, yeah. And how every morning it sprinkles its dew on Yggdrasil to sustain it. And will basically offer blood chiminage of his own blood upon the boughs of the tree to be like the dew of her, or whichever well it is. And to hopefully sustain and revitalize her.
As he spills his blood across the roots of the tree, the dryad-like spirit will reach over. She will lean down and actually lick much of it up. And as the blood disappears within her, she will grow just a tiny bit greener before nodding. That was quite lovely. The belief of humans is more important than you would think, especially to creatures such as myself.
I'm glad. Yeah, I've never met a myth before, a legend.
There are many, and they are constantly changing. One does not know if one day you will become a legend, never mind meet one.
Who considers this? That is fairly philosophical. But yeah. In addition to this, if you would help me, how would you help me carry your seeds back to the sept? Or would you carry me a sapling or a bough or a sprig?
She thinks for a moment. I will create a sapling for you, and within it, I will imbue the energies of this cairn. Wherever you take it is where it will empower and where it will grow. It will take much time and much energy. However, if you can come back here in 3 days to collect it,
I will do.
she nods.
Lives of Gar are temperamental, though. I'm leading a mission against some of our enemies tomorrow. If I would perish on this, would you accept that one of my pack mates comes in my stead?
Yes, I will. Which totem does your pack follow?
We follow Otter. He guides us through the Umbra and reminds us that sometimes happiness is one of the many bounties of life, and that we should embrace it.
She nods. Then inform Otter. I will accept any of his children to perform this chiminage, though I hope you return safely.
Thank you. I'll go now. I'll be back in 3 days, hopefully. I don't know if you have any way to contact, but if the Weaver's servants come for you before that, or harass you, the guy of the Sept would I'm sure happily help defend this place until the time is right.
She will nod. If they come before those 3 days, your people will be the first to know.
Will thanks her. And yeah, he will say his goodbyes. And yeah, he will take his leave. Again, returning by the secret ways, the ways that the spiders don't see through the sewers across rooftops. And yeah, make his way back to the Sept of the Green.
And I believe that is where we can end our scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you to watchers for watching. This has been another scene for Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.